Bhagavatam, he told, because so that he can write the glories of Supreme Lord. Then what happened? Then he just sat on his near a small kutir. There is one tree. Under the tree, he was just sat and start writing Bhagavatam. So there it is mentioned that Vyasdev was sitting in his ashram. Although he was a Grihastha, but it is also called as ashram. So Prabhu was right. What is meant by ashram? Prabhu was right. Ashram means is that where the Krishna conscious activity should be done the priority. So no matter either brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, everyone has their different duty, different role to perform. But the prime principal thing is that keeping Krishna in the center. So by keeping Krishna in the center, then he can live life accordingly the guidance of the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So here what the Shastras are mentioning about the ideal grihastha life, what things they should do and what things they should avoid. And Prabhu was more highlighting about that, also connected to grihastha only. Of course, we can apply those who are not a grihastha also, there are students also, for them also the same principle. And for brahmachari also, we can understand why according to the way we discussed last chapters. But the principle is same for everyone. Not wasting time unnecessary, giving more and more time to Krishna. Whatever time is required, like here it is mentioned, for 8 hours they can work. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is our ideal grihastha, and our Acharya. He has told us that one should divide his day in a three way. 8 hours for body, 8 hours for soul, and 8 hours for this professional life. So therefore, so prime thing is that keeping Krishna, actually aspiring to become very good devotee. For that we surely have to give the time. Without giving time, one cannot develop a relationship with anyone. If suppose one has to develop a relationship with his family, wife, children, then he needs to give time. Where we see the modern culture, very difficult. The children's parents, they go to the office, husband and wife, and the children, they just remain in the home. So therefore very difficult for them to become a good son or good children. So that anything one has to do, one has to give it time. If we have to get good degree in the college, one has to give time to the college, to the studies. If you want to become good, successful in the material life, one has to give time. Similarly, if you want to become a good devotee, one has to give time for the Krishnas and the devotees. So I write that one should be always associated with the devotees and discuss the topic of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And it is not that only one time. Prabhu was writing many. Most important point is that once we complete Bhagavad Gita, it does not mean that it will get over. One has to read again and again. So because the Shastras are not something that we do our studies in the colleges. That once we understood, then we just stop reading, we go ahead. But Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is like that. The degree to we read more and more. To that degree, the revelation, the realization from the Shastra will come in our life. Because Shastras are not different than Krishna himself. So means we are associating with Krishna. And to a degree our consciousness in devotional life become mature. In initial age, when we read scriptures, we don't understand much. Like all of you are like reading every day Bhagavad Gita. We may be understanding, but not very much. But still, Raghav Prabhu teaching to what is the meaning. But after some time, once we read again, be fast on that day. So much strictness are there in Brahmacharya life because there is always a chance in his life also so that he get distracted and start becoming independent. So for Brahmachari, this is because most of the time to deal with the mind, and therefore the independent mentality is always there. Like 10th canto, this point is mentioning that when the Krishna and all the coward boyfriend, they were going to take the cows for grazing. So one they sat on the place and they started taking prasad. Every day they take lunch, and while they found that the cows had gone very far, so there this word comes, swear, uh, what was that? Swayam, independent words come. Swayam or something came. The word of meaning that independent. Although the cows were under the care of the this Gopa Krishna, but they thought that out there far place there will be nice green grass, so I can go there. And then what happened? When they went there, there was a big forest fire happened. So same thing is when we thinking that every day I am coming for morning Pura, no, every day I am doing the same devotional activities. Yet for 1 2 days, if I can relax, so then it's like think of independent. So therefore, one has to be very careful while be related with the what are the shastras is the duty of a brahmacharya, because this dealing with the mind is so dangerous. Similarly, the duty of grihasthas also mentioned that he has to associate with the great souls. He has to associate with the devotees. He has to every day you come. He has to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam classes, and you have to perform devotional activities and then engage in various kinds of activities. Like this, so many things are mentioned. So why this? Because that again the same thing. There is again a chance that we get distracted, and we find that after some time we realize that I have come so far, then very difficult. So therefore these warnings are given so that we may be careful. Not that warning restrictions are there so that we think that why Shastra are so much strict. Because at any time we may get distracted and can cause accident also. So these are the point. Shastra is very much strict on the how one can live their life. So one has to live life in such a way that his priority is like become the Krishna consciousness. There's nothing else. So for that, how we understand that Grihastha to live life with the priority is Krishna consciousness by taking association of a person who has renounced order. They mentioned for them they have to associate with those persons who are in renounced order because they have already renounced everything in the material world. But the Grihasthas, they are living, actually they are most of the time they are going to associate those things which may make them attached to them. Which are when it is mentioned that one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. So because most of the time from morning to the night, his time is gone to in their association. Like when they are in family, so family, of course, if the family is surrounded by Krishna center, then the family is like a Golok Vrindavan, which we know that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has told. But if one is like very doing minimums, whatever as less as possible to respect, then the over a period of time the family attachment will increase. And when you go to office, you is associating with the person, those who are like material consciousness. And similarly the night, so most of the time it goes to the meeting to those person, those who have material consciousness. Of course, family they have Krishna consciousness, but most of the time they go to meet to those persons who have material consciousness. So there is always a chance that he may be distracted, he may get diverted. So therefore, what Shastra mentioned that you should be very careful to why not get too much on this way and must take more and more shelter of Krishna. I mean through the reading of scriptures and the association of the sadhus. And also here the Prabhu is mentioning that especially the scripture, the holy name of the Lord and the scripture like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they are the most about the name and the glories of the Lord. So one has to read every day as is described the Lord's incarnation and other form of the Lord mentioned in the Bhagavatam and Puranas. So when we read scriptures every day, then what happens? Then our attachment from the material things, and also here the attachment. It is mentioned that the attachment to the family has to be means the gradually become a detached from the family affection. Of course, this also we can understand in proper way that detachment does not mean that the one is to completely remain separate, but detachment is through the consciousness. When we are like Kunti Maharani, although the Pandavas all were the five children, the five were devotees or they are devotees of Lord, but still she is praying to Krishna, my dear Lord, please cut my all attachment from the Pandishu and Pandushu and Vrishnishu. Vrishni are who? Vrishni are the family from the Krishna sides. They are also very devotee. And Pandus are they are Pandavas. So Kunti Maharani is praying to the Lord, please cut my all attachment from both. What kind of attachment she is praying? She is praying to the material attachment. Material attachment is they are my children, they are my relatives, they are my family members. So my is there. She is telling that one who can cut this kind of attachment. Similarly, the devotee may be having family, children. So there also one pray for this kind of attachment should be cut. But the other side is called as responsibility. The grasta responsibility to take care of the wife, to take care of children, and make them given such a suitable atmosphere so that they also become a great devotee of the Lord. This is called as responsibility. So this responsibility has to be done very properly. But the attachment from the material affection side has to be worked for. That has to be getting detached. Understand that they are not my children. These are not my wife. They are my property of my spiritual master, and I have given the service to take care of them and help them to make it Krishna consciously. So this way, Prabhu has mentioned that one can work in such a way that one can become detached from their also affection. And also another most point, very much important point is that how can uh, like here it points this can the activity, that what kind of activity one should be do such that in such a way that it will gradually help us to become more and more attached to Krishna. That activity also has to be very carefully done under the proper guidance. Which like we can check out like that what kind of activities I am performing now and what was the if I continue to do that kind of activity, what will the end result of that activities? And will they become that? We become attached. Of course, if we are doing that activity, Krishna was like, if you are doing services for the Lord, then it is good that we become attached to doing services. So, of course, particular service should not be attached, but doing services we should be attached. Similarly, if we are reading scriptures, doing activities, we are preaching, doing these activities, or if we are suppose working also with this understanding that I am working as a service to Krishna, then that is also called as a service. But if we are working for this understanding that oh I have to earn money, I have to maintain myself, so I have to good for find new bigger and bigger job, then that attachment is like a very dangerous attachment. So actually the Krishna consciousness is like that only. Krishna consciousness does not tell that one has to give up everything. Like when one becomes a devotee of the Lord, Krishna consciousness does not say that one has to give up everything. But Krishna consciousness said that one has to connect everything to Krishna. Your whatever your job, connect with Krishna. Your studies, connect with Krishna. Your family, connect with Krishna. Then that is the called as proper Krishna consciousness. So we have our home, connect with Krishna. Means invite the sadhus, arrange the festivals. We have car, they connect with Krishna. Do use for the service of Krishna. So in this way, we can become a Krishna consciousness. So these are the activities. So these are, when scripture says that one has to become detached from material activities, so that has to be properly understood. Because Bhagavad Gita, it is told that one has to renounce everything. One should not that let that words come. But it is told that sannyasi does not mean that he should not lit any fire or he should not be engaged in anything. But sannyasi is one who he should use everything in the service of Krishna. So the one has to properly understand. So activity, when it is told that Bhagavad Shastra says that one should give up the activity material, so it does not mean that one has to give up every job and just sit in the temple. No. It means that we have to connect that activity with Krishna. So that is called as the proper way of working. Okay, I think we'll stop here. Our time is completed, and maybe request to Mukta Guru and Prabhu Guru, they can share more points on this. Thanks.
I think it's a good point that these days you can do everything online, listen to classes, do everything online in Krishna consciousness, but yeah, keep the physical temple at the center of your life. Go to the temple, do service in the temple, have friends in the temple, regularly be in the temple, stay overnight in the temple, live in the temple if you can for a week or a month or a year, for your 10 years or your whole life. Keep the temple, the physical temple, in the center. Everything is, without the temple, very few people are going to become devotees or stay devotees. Stay centered around the temple.
Yes. I had some points. Please. Can you share? I can share some points. No, you want to share some more points?
No, that's it.
So, a few things. I really like this point that how all ashramas are centered about Krishna. That is one thing in the beginning you were talking about that. The whole, that Vyasdev example. You were staying in that ashram, first canto. So, spiritual activity is a place of spiritual activity. Ashrama is that, like that. So, all the ashramas are actually should be place of spiritual activity, very striking. And also, he says that, I like this point that how heart has to be changed by this reading. So basically, you're mentioning that it's not just reading and speaking and giving classes and reading, and it's also that we are trying to surrender ourselves to Krishna and Guru. So then, by their mercy, our heart will be transformed. So I was reflecting that how our studying of the scriptures and hearing the classes and discussing and speaking should actually we should endeavor to surrender ourselves more and more to Krishna and Guru and devotees. That should be that should be the intention. And then by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, then our heart will be changed. Then we'll be able to do it also. And then to that point, what you're saying, that result is sometimes not so much tangibly seen when we are practicing spiritual life. So somebody may think that, oh, because when I have money, immediately, as I said, no, at the end of the month salary comes, family immediately becomes happy. Oh, you gave gift to me, they become happy. You from US to India, you give some nice gifts. So they come to me, immediately they become happy, you can see that. So actually, but in devotional service also, as Prabhu is saying, the result is there. But the only thing is that sometimes when it's so gross, then and he doesn't understand that how the results are so sublime and so wonderful. But any devotee can see who's taking little initiative also in Krishna consciousness can see there's so much of result. Like Nectar Devotion talks about Kleshagni, immediately is relieved from so much of material distress. As if like somebody is burning in hot fire and suddenly he is getting the rain shower. How will you feel? Or somebody who is hot sun is there and suddenly gets a shelter in the tree and then cool, and then in the tree also some nice sprinkling of cold water is coming. How you feel like that? Or you're thirsty, and you're in desert, and suddenly somebody gives you, some water, sufficient water to drink, and then oasis you get it. So how you feel? So like that, actually, one feels. So any devotee can see. Somebody who comes to Krishna can experience it. So people who are just looking at from distance, they can't understand what the devotees are getting. That's why Prabhupada said, you join and see. So simply they want to become envious. But they don't understand that how, because they say that these fellows are not working, they're parasites, so many things they will say, accuse. But actually when they take to Krishna consciousness, you can see how they are so much happy. So devotees actually truly become so much relieved, and then life becomes very auspicious. As Prabhu is saying, it becomes so matured, our dealings improve, our heart becomes cleansed, we get clarity, our clutter and confusion goes away. So much benefit is there. You see, one day you chant so nicely, you immediately feel, it's not like the results are so far also. So you can see the result. But as Prabhu is saying, some of our expectations are sometimes very different. We want immediately, to have a kunda pain comes. Immediately my lust, anger, greed, padani should go away. Yeah, so that all will go away gradually. but we get so much also. So much of result is also there. So one can actually very interestingly go on that Krishna consciousness like that. Another aspect what we was mentioning, that this everything sets to zero, like a dream. That's true, no? Like whole life you endeavor so much, at the end of the life everything again becomes zero. So this is like dream only. Dream, sometimes you become king, you get so much of money, wealth, you're ruling, and then dream is over, back to what you are. It is like this only. Same way the whole life you earn so much and do this, and then when you are dying, zero again. But spiritual life is not like that. The spiritual life, whatever endeavor you have made, it goes with you. This is very amazing thing, the contrast. So it's material life, everything is just to zero, it's like a dream. But spiritual life, whatever you have done in this world, dreamy like world, it actually is a permanent asset. You see, when material dream gets over, nothing of that remains with you, right? But in this dreamy like world, but if you do Krishna consciousness, it goes with you. It carries on with you, and that becomes a permanent asset also. Another thing. And third thing was also saying that how we have to divide our life. For body, for profession, and for spiritual life. But in spiritual life also two things are there. One thing is that our sadhana, that we should be strict about, like morning program, chanting daily. Second aspect also is a missionary life also. Because see what happens now, when we only think about selfishly that okay, my sadhana, my chanting, and we are satisfied with that, then our growth may not be that much. Because see, in spiritual life, it's also required that we also pay our gratitude to the teachers. And the best way to do that is to share this Krishna consciousness also. So we have to also serve the mission. We have to serve also by extending ourselves to give out the holy name, the books. This is very, very important. And when we are at a young age now, it is so, see, we have so much of passion, there's so much of energy. This energy we don't utilize for missionary activity, we'll go to club. We'll talk to our family members for 2 hours. We'll do all that then. We'll keep worrying about, okay, how can I do this course also, that course also, I'll change better job. So many ideas you'll get. But if you same energy if you put for mission, because we cannot, you may not be able to chant for 64 rounds, 30 rounds, you may not be able to do that. You cannot read, you can read something. But other time what we should do? That we should utilize for missionary activities. You can follow up the boys, you can go and distribute books, you can start doing classes, and you see, you will feel so blissful. Because you get direct mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you get direct mercy of the Lord. Because it is the greatest benevolent act. The Lord's anxiety is only to bring all the souls back to Him. So it's a very wonderful opportunity also. And Srila Prabhupada did that. See what Srila Prabhupada did? Srila Prabhupada did not say you hold, though Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy, he says all this. But what practically Prabhupada did? Prabhupada gave so much of engagements. It's all this painting you see, all these paintings are made by devotees only. You see? So Prabhupada made all the devotees use their talents in missionary activities. Prabhupada told them to print Chaitanya Charitamrita in 2 months. The devotee said, impossible. And Prabhupada said, impossible is the word of fool's dictionary. And you can't imagine if you read Chaitanya, Vedanata, in 2 months when they slept, when they ate, when they bathed, they did not know. They just did it. So much of missionary activity, you can see that. So you can see we should also understand that our energy, what we have so much in youth, the youthful energy should be given for the mission of the Lord. And you don't have to wait for anything. At your current situation, you can engage yourself in missionary activities. So much to do. Then your absorption will be in Krishna. Otherwise, as Prabhu said, immediately what happens? Our absorption will go into profession and family. Because spiritual activity, we are very selfishly, we will be doing some spiritual activity. But it will be very basic minimum bottom line. And the time which comes, immediately go to family and profession. But if you do missionary activities, then you can all this energy can utilize it. And then you can manage your family and profession to degree what is required. So that's why it's important that we also have time for missionary activities. Work for the whole day, then go for the mission in the evening. Evening should be for the mission actually. Morning for personal sadhana, daytime for the work, evening for the mission. Those people who don't give for mission, what they do? Then they will spend time with family, they will chat, they will go to restaurant, that's what they do. But you do for mission. So and student life is a boon when we are not married and all that. Boon. Because that time you like brahmachari only. Instead of 8 hours of services, you do temple and all that. You are going for job. Then evening time is mission only. It should be so easy, right? So this is how it, and another thing also that Grasta responsibility is also to give charity. The Prabhu also mentioning this point. See, you are saying that what is, like you are saying, wife, children, everybody, home, car, should be engaged in service of Krishna. So, because there is an attachment to all this, So if you give it for Krishna, then your attachment will come to Krishna also. Vaishnav is a nice example. So you give mobile to somebody and he's going somewhere far, maybe he's India or something, and you have a very new mobile because his friends will just how gave. But you are attached to mobile. So what will happen if the mobile goes with that friend? You will call that fellow, whether the mobile is proper or not. So you'll inevitably think about, of course, I mean you're thinking about mobile, but you think of your friend also. You're getting this point? So your remembrance of your friend will increase because you are attached to mobile and you have given that mobile to your friend. So same way, when we give something what we're attached to, so Grihasthas, their tendency is to become attached to wives, kids, money, especially money. So then what happens? Then if you give that to Krishna, then you'll actually your attachment will come to Krishna also. And it's a duty for Grihastha to do that. Especially charity is mentioned. So if you are earning any amount, anybody earning, you should always think that some portion of money should go to that is serving Krishna. It's important. That your money is purified also. So charity is another very important thing. So three things he says here: charity, and then self-control and sacrifice. Three things he says is a very important duty of a Grihastha in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita says. So that's why we should also give out our money also to Krishna. That's how we become purified. And that's how our consciousness, he said, detachment may not exactly, exclusively mean that you have to immediately give up your profession, immediately have to give up everything. Some Grihastha may have to stay with all that, but he gets his consciousness, he is detached from that. His consciousness becomes attached to Krishna. But that is only possible when he also engages whatever he is attached to in the service of Krishna. Then gradually his consciousness will come to Krishna also. So he is living a Krishna-centered life, connecting everything to Krishna, offering everything to Krishna. Like that's a way. But of course, there's a choice. Like somebody may want to give himself to Krishna more and more available. So brahmacharis do that. So then they have so much time for Krishna, so much time. But even if they are into Grihastha ashram, so they also should see that how they properly balance out, as we described, and also engage everything, connect everything to Krishna. Otherwise, anything can become a problem. We can become attached to. So very strong energy like that. So we can become attached. So you'll just follow. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.